Okay, so let's take a look at a video here on changing the strings. I'm not going to put a new string on this, but I'm going to show you what I do. First off is I never change them all at once. I change them one at a time because the reason for that, it keeps the nice tension on the instrument while you're doing it. Unless you're going to store the instrument for a long period of time, you always want to keep the tension on the strings. So the first thing you're going to do, of course, is you're going to set the string into the peg. So you'll have the pegs pulled out. There are different tools that you can get for removing the pegs. You want to make sure that you have the peg set in there really good. So you take the string, put it in the hole, push the peg in place, and then pull the string up here so that you can feel the little stub at the end of this set. Now it may work itself loose, but you want to make sure that the peg does in fact stay in place. So then on the winder itself, now of course this string has already been cut, but what you want to do here is for each set of strings, or for each gauge of strings, you're going to do things a little differently. On the low E string, what I typically do is I'll take the string and pull it out to the second peg, to the A string peg, and I will cut it off right there at that length. And so that will give me a couple of turns on the winder for the low E string. But as you progress, by getting from the low E string to the high E string, you may not need as much. So I just use that as a general rule. I'll go to the next peg. In doing that on the high E string, it might make it a little long, but you will get a nice amount of turns on the peg itself. So then what I need to do then at this point is, you'll notice the top three wind clockwise, the bottom three wind counterclockwise. So what I will typically do then is, once I get it cut to the length I want, is I will set it in the hole and then give it just a little bit of a bend. And then what I do is I will take my string, and with my hand and my finger, I will kind of keep it in the groove there and just kind of put a little pressure on the top and pull it taut at the bottom or down the string. And so now when it's set, then I can slowly start turning it. And what you want to do is, as you start turning it, you want to make sure that the windings on the string are below the piece that you cut off. Because what that's going to do is it's going to pull the pressure down the length of the tuning peg there. So now when you just kind of hold it in place here, as you're bringing it up to tension, you're making sure that the windings are going down the tuning peg and not up. And so as I slowly start to tune it here, you'll see the string is staying below the little piece that I cut off. Check it every once in a while and see, it's already started to slip here, so I'm going to check it again and pull it below, keeping that down pressure, and wind. And it should, after the first turn or two, it should stay below. And so as I'm winding this on, I've already got 2 turns on there. And depending on who you talk to, somebody will say, well, you only need 2 turns anyway. But by using that length from this tuning peg to this tuning peg, it gives you just about the right amount of turns. So I've got probably 3 turns on there, and it might be a little long. So the next thing you do is make sure that it in fact anchors in the little divot. It's going to form its own little cutout on the nut down here, on the bridge down here. And so just make sure it does in fact lock into that. And so now, with the other string still on here and in tune, as you bring it up carefully, I would highly recommend that you have your tuner handy. So if you've got a little clip-on tuner like I've got, go ahead and put the tuner on the headstock, turn it on, and slowly bring it up to pitch. With brand new strings, as you change each one, of course, you'll bring it up to pitch. Again, I would bring it up very slow. They're going to slip, and so you need to stretch them a little. So what I then do after I put everyone on is I will grab the string here and pull on it just to make sure it sets properly with the pin, and you start getting a little stretching action. So just actually grab it. You don't need to pull it too much, but grab it here and pull out on the string, exercise it a little bit, and it will start to stretch it. Make sure that the string stays seated in the nut, and then bring it up slowly to pitch. As you do this, if you do it carefully, you shouldn't experience any breakage of the string. You just have to take it easy. So do the strings one at a time, and then bring them each up to pitch slowly. So hopefully that helps.